السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Mic was not working for some reason. So now I'm a little bit unwell. So inshallah, you gotta raise your hearing abilities, inshallah. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك وعلمنا من لدنك علما ينفعنا في الدين والدنيا يا كريم. أما بعد، Alhamdulillah, we are up to our 16th class, inshallah ta'ala, and hopefully we're going to try to study Siyam, fasting, from the beginning to the end in this class, inshallah ta'ala. So we have to, inshallah, pay attention. The points that are going to be mentioned are going to be very detailed, inshallah. So, as we mentioned earlier, that the actions of worship, salah, zakat, hajj, they are different in their rank. And Siyam is the best action of worship after prayer. So fasting is a very important action. من صام يوما في سبيل الله باعد الله بينه وبين النار 70 خريفا. Whoever fasts one day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a distance of 70 years of travel between him and between Jahannam. Imagine if that fasting is compulsory. Compulsory fasting has even a higher reward. Now, fasting is known as Siyam or Sawm. So inshallah in this class we'll be using the word Sawm or Siyam many times, and that is the Islamic word for fasting, of course, and that's clear to everyone, inshallah ta'ala. The definition of that is abstaining from certain actions. The actions that we're going to take, inshallah, the things that break your fast. So abstaining from them from Fajr until Maghrib with a specific intention. That is what fasting is in the Shafi'i method. Now, Sawm in Arabic means to abstain from something, to prevent yourself from something. And that's why before our Sharia, before Prophet Muhammad was sent, prophets before him used to have, or the nations before us, used to have fasting from other things, like fasting from speaking. And Zakaria alayhi salam, when he was given glad tidings, Maryam alayhi salam, when she was given Isa alayhi salam, she wouldn't speak to anyone, and she said, "Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawma." I've sworn that I'm going to fast to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning she's not going to talk. Now, Ramadan is the only time of the year that we must fast. It's compulsory for us to fast. And it only became compulsory 1 year after the Hijrah. At the beginning, of course, Ramadan used to be a choice. You could either fast or pay. Feed someone instead of fasting. And then it became compulsory for everyone who can fast to fast. And if you can't fast, then you can pay. Okay, let's get into the important topics, inshallah. What makes it compulsory to fast Ramadan? What are the things that if they happen, becomes compulsory to fast Ramadan? Okay. There are reasons that make it compulsory for the general public, for all the Muslims to fast, and there are reasons that make it compulsory for individuals to fast Ramadan. Okay. The things that make it compulsory for the general public, for everyone. Number one, if the crescent of the moon is sighted, and of course there are conditions to studying the crescent of the moon. But if the crescent of the moon is sighted, everyone must fast that month from that day. Now, some of the conditions for sighting the moon are, number one, that it must be after sunset. If you see the moon before sunset, that's not considered sighting. Number two, the sky must be clear. Okay. Number three, the reliable calculations. So the agreement of all the astronomers in the world. Okay, if they say that it's impossible to see the crescent, then we're not allowed to accept the citing, this claim. They say it's impossible. No way the person can be cited. Not even born. And someone claims they have cited it, that citing must be rejected. You can't take that citing. And I think that happened about 2 years ago. One of the countries in the world, the only one country in the whole world that claimed that they cite the president before he was even born. Yeah? Most likely they cited a different planet, but not Earth. Okay. The fourth condition for the citing to make it compulsory for everyone to fast is that the governor or the hakim of that area, the imam of that area, okay, declares that the citing has been confirmed. Okay. If he doesn't declare that, so someone cited the moon and he goes and tells the hakim, but he doesn't accept his shahada, he doesn't accept his explanation, then that person himself must fast. And the people who believe him, but not everyone. It's not compulsory for everyone to fast just because one individual saw it and the hakim, the leader, the governor didn't accept his citing. Okay? For the person, another condition is that the person who cited the moon, he bears witness that he has seen it. So he says, I witness that I've cited the moon. Shahada is in everything. But if he just mentions it in passing, then we'll get to that later on, inshallah. But these are the conditions for the citing of person to make it compulsory upon everyone to cite. And also, the person must be adil. He must be someone who is respected, practicing religious. He is not known to do anything that is looked down upon. And he must be a male. He must be free, meaning he's not a slave. And he must be a practicing Muslim. Okay. This citing that we're talking about, okay, according to the famous opinion in the Shafi'i madhab, every single city has its own citing. Not every country, every city. So Melbourne would have its own citing, Sydney would have its own citing, Perth would have its own citing. Every single city in the world would have its own citing. And the cities who have the same sunset and sunrise would also take their citing. So in the books of fiqh, they mention Baghdad and Kufa. In Iraq, two cities that are very close to each other, Baghdad and Kufa. And I'm not sure today, I think that, they're basically one. Cities like this have the same citing. But cities that don't have the same Maghrib and Fajr don't take the same citing, like Cairo and Damascus. That citing is separate. Also, if you doubt that the city has the same citing, then you don't have to accept it. So these are the conditions for the citing of the moon to be compulsory for everyone to fast. Everyone in that city fast. Okay. The second thing that makes it compulsory for everyone to fast is that Sha'ban has completed 30 days. Sha'ban completes 30 days, then everyone must fast, and there's no second way around that. The third thing, okay, that makes it compulsory is that a huge amount of people say that they have sighted the moon, and this number of people is impossible to have lied. So you should say, like, we have thousands in different parts of Australia all saying they've sighted the moon, then we must accept that even if these people are non-Muslim, because that huge amount of people is stronger than the sighting of an individual. And the last thing is that if you're in a country that the canons of Ramadan and the lights and those kind of things that happen, they are all stay start. That would also make it Ramadan for everyone to fast. There's some reasons that make it compulsory for individuals to fast, but not for the general public. Okay, so individuals can fast according to these reasons, but it's not compulsory for the general public to fast. Number one, someone trustworthy, someone who is trustworthy. So, a good practicing person who wouldn't lie, telling you that they have cited the crescent, even if you're not convinced. So if Karam comes to me, okay, and says, you know what, I said the crescent yesterday, and I said, I don't know, Karam, I don't know, I think you're probably, I have to accept what he says. Why? Because it's trustworthy. And in Islam, we have to accept the statement of a trustworthy person. Unless it's impossible. Yeah. If it's impossible, then I can't accept that. But if there's a possibility, there's nothing stopping that, there's nothing preventing that, then I must accept it. Number 2, someone claiming that the crescent has been sighted. Okay? And that person might not even be a trustworthy person, but you feel comfortable with what they said. So something convincing. Someone who you are convinced is telling the truth says that the crescent has been sighted. That also makes it compulsory upon the individual to fast Ramadan. Is this clear? Or is that getting too detailed? So I'll just repeat, inshallah. If a person witnesses with the Imam and declares that it's Ramadan, and the Imam accepts that, all the Muslims have to fast. If an individual sights the moon, okay, then it depends on the individual. If it's someone trustworthy and it's not impossible, if you are told, you must accept and you must fast. If the person is not trustworthy, but it's convincing, you also must fast. But if the person is not trustworthy and it's not convincing, then you don't need to fast. Okay. The third reason that makes it compulsory fast upon the individuals, and there's a bit of difference around this in the Shafi'i method, but this is the opinion of Imam al-Ramli, is the calculations, okay, individual calculations for those who trust them, for the calculator himself and those who trust them. So if someone feels comfortable with calculation, and they have, they've looked into it a bit and stuff, and they feel that, the crescent has definitely been born in the area I'm in, he did his research, then that person must fast according to Imam al-Ramli. There's a bit of difference. So Ibn Hajar has a bit of a different stance on this, but this is one of the opinions in the Shafi'i madhab. The second thing is tanjim, astrology. So reading of the stars. That's also a way that they used to tell that the crescent has been born or not. And that's also compulsory according to Imam Ramli for the astrologer himself and those who trust him. And the last reason for individuals to have to fast Ramadan is a specific case. If the individual is in prison and they have nothing to tell them what time of the year it is, then they have to do their own ijtihad. They have to try their best to identify and guess what time of the year it is, and then guess Ramadan and fast that time of the year. So you have to fast 1 month of the year when they're locked. These are the reasons for us to fast Ramadan. Okay. Any questions?
The calculations. For instance, the governor
Okay. First of all, there's a few different issues I have to discuss. Calculation is a huge topic, and we could do a whole class on that. But generally, if the calculations are not false calculations, they are trustworthy calculations. Okay, so it's an accepted opinion, and someone is of the opinion that he doesn't want to follow that. If the governor of that area follows and orders to follow, then you must follow the calculation. So, for example, if you go to Turkey today in Ramadan and they're fasting, we fast with them. If you go to a country, Algeria, Tunisia, a lot of them follow calculations, you will fast with people. You wouldn't fast on separate days, as long as the calculations can be, accurate calculations. Even if you are, from a madhab that doesn't follow calculations, you still have to follow calculations. So generally, if you are in a country, the opinion of the imam, the hakim, becomes compulsory upon all the Muslims to follow generally, if he orders them to follow them. So that's why we don't have this issue of different days of Ramadan in Muslim countries. You don't have that at all. Wherever you go, if you go to Egypt, if you go to Saudi, if you go to Morocco, you find that everyone starts Ramadan one day and finishes on a different day, even though fiqh-wise, there is difference. If I was to apply the Shafi'i madhab or the Hanafi madhab to that country, it might not work. But even as a Shafi'i, I still have to follow what the governor says to that country. And that's why in Hajj, we all do what Sadi says when we go to Hajj, even though our madhabs are all different. You have a Maliki, Hanafi, Shafi'i, we still all have to follow. So let's say حكم الحاكم يرفع الخلاف. Whatever the governor declares removes any difference in. To the extent in the Shafi'i madhab that even if the governor said that everyone has to pray Jumu'ah before Dhuhr time, in the Hanbali madhab, Jumu'ah starts from Duha, from sunrise. In the Hanbali madhab, the only opinion is the Hanbali madhab. The rest of the madhab say Dhuhr time. In our madhab, they say if the Hakim ordered you to pray according to Hanbali madhab, it will become compulsory to pray Jumu'ah at that time, and you wouldn't have to do taqleed or follow the Hanbali way of prayer. No. Even according to the Shafi'i method of prayer and wudu, it counts. Because it becomes the Shafi'i method in that case. To that extent. Melbourne. Yeah. So it's an important question. Generally in Australia, okay, in Melbourne where we are, the moon probably can't be sighted once or twice a year. It's very hard to sight the moon in Melbourne. I don't remember ever being sighted. Yeah. But even if it was sighted, it wasn't sighted, okay? If you want to follow the Shafi'i madhab, Melbourne was going to be 2 days later than everyone in all the months, okay? And that's a bit difficult. And we're not supposed to deal with fiqh in a way that, we just touch people. Fasting alone and everyone else fasting different days. Like even after the local moon sighting, after them by a day. That doesn't make sense. So in our madhab, there's other opinions also in this matter, many opinions. And generally, the second opinion, which is the opinion of the majority of scholars in Islam, is that every single country in the world share one sighting. Global sighting. Okay? That's the opinion of the majority of fuqaha, and it's the second opinion in the Shafi'i. Today, I think that is one of the easiest things to take. So if it's confirmed in a country, reliable sighting in a country, then you can take that and you can act upon that. Usually, calculations would never go against global sighting. So that makes it also it works. So if someone doesn't want to go against the majority of Muslims who are following calculations, but themselves they're not comfortable with calculations, then usually calculations do fit with global sighting. So alhamdulillah, it's an easy issue. But just generally don't try to go against the majority of the Muslims as much as you can. How are they going to realize?
They say they come out and then found out they
fasted. Fasted. Allah أعظم. Okay. The author رحمه الله says كتاب الصيام وشرائط وجوب الصوم 4 أشياء: الإسلام والبلوغ والعقل والقدرة على الصوم، وفرائض الصوم 4 أشياء: النية والإمساك عن الأكل والشرب والجماع وتعمد القيء.
Conditions of beginning the fast. Fasting the month of Ramadan. There are 4 obligatory conditions of there are 4 obligatory actions of fast. A. Intention. B. Abstain from eating and drinking. Force and condition.
And then he says والذي يفطر به الصائم 10 أشياء: ما وصل عمدا إلى الجوف والرأس، والحقنة في إحدى السبيلين، والقيء عمدا، والوطء عمدا في الفرج، والإنزال عن مباشرة، والحيض والنفاس والجنون والردة.
Things that invalidate the fast. The fast is invalidated if any of the following things occur. Number 1, anything intentionally reaching a body cavity, including the brain, chest, and abdomen, or the head through an orifice. Number 2, insertion of something into the anus, urethra, or vagina. Number 3, intentional vomiting. Number 4, intentional intercourse. Number 5, ejaculation resulting from skin contact. Number 6, menstruation. Number 7, false negativity. Number 8, insanity. And number 9, apostasy, and Allah.
Okay. Conditions for fasting to be compulsory. If you don't meet these conditions, fasting is not compulsory upon you. You don't have to fast Ramadan. Number 1, Islam. And we mentioned this in every single ibadah. Someone accept Islam, they don't have to make up all the fasting that they missed. Unless this person was a Muslim before, left Islam and came back, then they would have to make up the fasting in that period between the time they left and came back. Number 2, maturity. So to reach the age of bulugh, we talked about the conditions of bulugh in the beginning of the book. Number 3, to be in your mind, sound mind. So if someone isn't mentally well, they're not able to tell the difference between things, then they don't need to fast because they can't make intention. The intention doesn't count. And the last one, or the third last one, is ability to fast. What does ability mean? Because Allah subhanahu in the Quran, He said, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَ, for the ones, okay, who can't, they're not able to fast, they can pay. What does ability mean? There's a lot of details regarding ability because a lot of people just say that word and that's it. There's 2 reasons, okay, that make someone not able. Religious reasons and physical reasons. So religious reasons mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped these people from fasting even though physically they could. And that is, of course, menstruation, so the monthly period, postnatal bleeding, and birth itself. Giving birth breaks the fast. These 3 things don't match with fast. Can't fast with these things. The physical reasons could be age. So someone is so old that fasting harms them. Okay, they're very old and fasting harms them, then they don't need to fast. They can just feed the poor. Number 2, extreme hunger and thirst that is unbearable, meaning that it is dangerous. Hunger and thirst that they can't continue with. Hunger and thirst that is harming them. Okay, not just any hunger and thirst. I'm really hungry today. Today I saw someone cooking and I became so hungry that I was going to break my fast. That doesn't count. It has to be hunger and thirst that is severely dangerous. Also, work circumstances being extremely dangerous, like some builders. This person has to start fasting, of course. Can't just start the day without fasting. And he goes to work. In the middle of work, he's in the top, the 10th level of the building, fixing the window, and he starts to get dizzy, and he's going to faint and fall down and collapse and die. Then you say, "Khalas, break your fast, drink something, and then continue your work." So work circumstances that are dangerous. These last categories, like I said, must start fasting. The person who's going to break fast because they're hungry, because of their work, they have to start fasting and try their best to continue fasting the whole day. And they can only break when they're in danger. That's when they can break fast. Now, another reason is, of course, saving the life of a respected person or animal. We talked about what a respected person is in Salim al-Najah. If it cannot be done while fasting. Similar to this is breastfeeding. So if the mother needs to eat in order to feed her newborn, then they can break the fast. Even if she's just worried. She doesn't have to be in severe danger, but if she's worried that it might harm the newborn, then she can break a fast. And illness, this includes pregnancy and traveling, of course. These people are considered not able to fast, or not completely able to fast. Islamically, they're not able because they're in some type of hardship. The 4th condition, or the 5th condition, is health. Like I said, if someone is ill, they don't need to. They don't need to fast if fasting could harm or affect or increase their sickness severely. And the 6th one is residency. So if you're traveling, you don't need to fast that day. A traveling person can break their fast with 3 conditions. 3 conditions. Not anyone traveling can just break their fast. Number 1, okay, for this travel to be a type of travel that you can shorten your salah in. So fiqh, like I said, is all connected, yeah? Go back to the book of salah. We said when someone is traveling, the travel has to be a certain length. It can't be a haram travel. There's certain conditions, okay? This type of travel is a travel that you can break your fast in. A travel that you can break your fast in. Number 2, for the travel to begin before the fasting day has begun. So if you start fasting and you're in your city and then you decide to travel in the middle of the day, you can't break your fast. Once Fajr Adhan goes and you haven't traveled yet, you can't break the fast. You have to continue that day. But only if you had started traveling before Fajr and then you decide to break your fast, you can break the fast. And the third condition for traveling is that the person traveling believe that it's most likely they can make the fast up later on. If they're not going to ever be able to make the fast up, if they're going to be, traveling and or ill afterwards, then no, they can't break their fast, because if they die not fasting, that means they have the intention to miss the day of Ramadan. And the important thing to understand here is that if someone wants to break their fast for these reasons, okay, in Ramadan, they must intend to take the rukhsa, take the easy option that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them, take the easy way out, but they can't just be fasting and say, you know what, I'm going to just drink and eat while they're fasting, as if they're going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's haram. So even if you want to break your fast for these reasons, you have to intend to take the rukhsa, take the anyone know the word rukhsa in English? Huh? Concession that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them is. Okay. What are the obligatory actions in fasting? How do we fast? What is fasting made up from? First thing is intention. Intention can be done in any moment from Maghrib until Fajr. From Maghrib until Fajr, the day before you fast. So if someone breaks the fast, اللهم لك الصمت وعلى رزقك أفطرت, نويت صيام الغد. So I intend to fast tomorrow as a compulsory day of Ramadan. خلاص, the intention is done. They don't have to intend again the whole night. So just one moment throughout the night has to have the intention. That's it. Intention, okay, of compulsory fasting must be to fast the compulsory coming day, tomorrow. So I'll fast tomorrow as a compulsory fasting of Ramadan. That's the intention that you would make. And non-compulsory fasting, okay, doesn't need to be intended at night. Non-compulsory fasting can be intended anytime before Dhuhr. So throughout the morning, you can intend for non-compulsory fasting, even if it's the day of Arafah or Monday and Thursdays or the special days. It can still be done before Dhuhr, although you get more reward if you intend at night time. And the second thing that makes your fasting valid is to abstain from anything that breaks your fast. If you intend at night time and abstain from anything that breaks your fast, your fasting is great. That's it. There's no other compulsory actions of fasting. It's that simple. It's that simple. Even if someone was to intend to break their fast, it doesn't break the fast. So while they're fasting, they say, you know what? I'm not fasting anymore. I give up fasting. Okay, the fasting is still correct and they continue. It doesn't break your fast, according to Imam Shafi'i. So all you have to do is intend at night time and then not do anything that breaks your fast throughout the day. That's it. Okay, what breaks your fast? First thing that breaks your fast is anything physical. Intentionally. Okay, intentionally. So you remember that you're fasting and you intentionally consume this thing, okay? Entering an empty space. The author, what did he say? What did he, a cavity, is it? A cavity. So an empty part of your body. In Arabic, they call it jawf, okay? Stomach, throat. Those parts of your body that have nothing in it. So an empty space in your body. Anything physical entering an empty space of your body. It could be your stomach, your throat, the inside, not your ear canal, but the inner part, the empty part, and your skull. in that area, after your ear canal, that's also considered a jawf. Through a clearly open way or alley or vessel, so an opening in your body that is clearly easy to be seen. Something entering your body through your mouth, through your nose, through your ear. That all is considered something that breaks your fast. But if something was to enter through your eye, does it break your fast? Why not? Because it's not clear. It isn't empty inside your. So from your eye, things can enter your stomach. Yes or no? Eye drops. If you can taste them, it still doesn't break your fast. Why? Because your eye is not an open, clearly open way to your stomach. It's open. There's an opening in your eye. There's a hole. Yeah. But it's not clearly seen by people. You need to look closely and put your face right in the person's face to see that. So that wouldn't consider something that would break the fast. So eye drops don't break the fast in the Shafi'i method, but ear drops do. And of course, nose spray does. Of course, there's no second right. Okay. The second thing. So so non-physical things don't break the fast at all, like smells. Okay, smelling things doesn't break your fast at all in the Shafi'i method, as long as, even if you taste that thing you smell in your throat, you just taste the smell because it's so strong, doesn't break your fast. Nice. Yes, they do. Yeah, they do, because it's open. It's an open hole, and then also it goes inside. Now, things that cannot be avoided don't enter under these things that I said. So if something is hard to avoid, it doesn't break the fast. Like dust on the road. Our scholars say even if someone was walking on the road and he opens his mouth and he lets the dust come in, it still doesn't break the fast because it can't be avoided. So when something is severe and really hard to avoid, it becomes permissible to let it run its course. The second thing breaks the fast is vomiting intentionally. Vomiting intentionally. So if someone makes himself vomit, then it breaks the fast. If you don't make yourself vomit, but you vomit unintentionally, it doesn't break your fast. But you have to wash your mouth and gurgle, of course, so that you don't swallow any of the vomit that is left in your mouth. Intercourse definitely breaks your fast. If done intentionally, so the person remembers that they're fasting. The person remembers that they are fasting. Also, physically ejaculating breaks your fast if done intentionally also. So if this happens through visions, someone is thinking or looking at something that makes them ejaculate, it doesn't generally break your fast. Okay, and for it to break your fast, there's a lot of conditions. Imam Ramli, rahimahullah ta'ala, believes that it can break your fast if you know about yourself that you would normally ejaculate in this state, then it would break the fast. But other than that, it doesn't break the fast. So someone just thinking all day and stuff, and then they break their ghusl. All they have to do is repeat their ghusl and their fasting is correct. But if someone physically touches themselves or something like that, then of course it would break the fast. Insanity breaks the fast, even for a moment. Someone loses their mind, getting drunk or fainting intentionally for a moment, intentionally. If someone, he makes himself go unconscious for a moment, then according to Imam Ramli, it breaks your fast even if it's for 1 moment. According to Ibn Hajar, it doesn't break your fast unless it goes on for the whole entire day. Okay. Leaving Islam billah breaks your fast. Menstruation or personal bleeding, meaning that if it happens in the middle of the day, it breaks your fast. Okay. If it happens before the beginning of the day, your fast doesn't even count. There's no fasting. But if it happens in the middle of the day, then it breaks the fasting of that day. and of course giving birth. Of course, it breaks your fast. Most of these require that the day broken is made up, other than intercourse. Intercourse has a kafara, an expiation. It must be done. So intercourse has a severe expiation. If the man is the one who caused it to happen, then he would have to free a slave if he can. If he can't do that, what does he do? Fast 60 days, 2 whole months. And if he breaks one day, it starts from the beginning. Okay, and only if he can't do that, then he can free. So it's a severe kafara. I mean, eating and drinking? Yeah, say if someone got drunk without eating and drinking. I don't know. There's a patch they put himself that makes him drunk. You don't know where science can reach one day. Yeah? Okay. Any questions on this? Any questions? Compulsory fast? No. In our madhab, if you break an optional fast, it's nothing. In the Hanafi madhab, you have to redo that day and make tawbah and everything. You don't have to know. No. But if you accidentally, if you don't mean it, if you forget, your fasting is good. Even if you have a 3-course meal. Okay. Menstruation, there's no repentance because it's not the person doesn't choose, yeah. So they just have to make it up on it. Yeah, as most of these things, not everything. There's no repentance, just make up the data. Okay. Yeah. Okay, if someone doesn't know, generally it depends on the person. Okay, in most, not just in fasting, but generally in fact, usually in the majority of time it depends on the person. So if the person is grown up, far away from scholars and knowledge, they didn't have any access to knowledge, then that person not knowing means that they're forgiven. Okay, but if the person knows, like in the Shafi'i madhab, if the person was in that condition, most of these things don't even break the fast at all. Fasting is script. But if the person has had the chance to learn, there was scholars accessible, but he didn't, then he would be held accountable for his ignorance. Number 2, the person had just accepted Islam, so they didn't have the chance to learn yet, also, they would be forgiven. But if someone has been Muslim for a while, had the chance to learn, then they would be held accountable for not knowing. Yeah. Okay, he says after that, ويستحب في الصوم 3 أشياء: تعجيل الفطر وتأخير السحور وترك الهجر من الكلام، ويحرم صوم 5 أيام العيدان وأيام التشريق 3، ويكره صوم يوم الشك إلا إن وافق عادة له.
One should, number 1, hasten to break the fast. Number 2, delay the pre-dawn meal prior to fasting. Avoid without it's unlawful to fast 5 days. Number 1, 2 weeks. Number 2, 3 days of the week. 3 days immediately after the week. It is offensive to fast the day of Yom HaShek, unless fasting is inside with an individual habitual fast.
Okay, Bismillah. Recommended actions while fasting. I like this topic a lot because there's so many Sunnah actions in fasting that people don't know about. A lot. And a lot of us learn the general rules of fasting, but we don't know what to do, how to increase the reward of our fasting. It's Sunnah, break fast on dates. Everyone knows this, okay? In the Shafi'i madhab, they go into detail about these dates. So they say you should choose to break your fast on ripe dates, rutab, the dates that are puffy, the ripe ones. If you can't find, then dry dates. Can't find rutab, then dry dates. If they're not available, then you break the fast on water. And the best of water is Zamzam, of course, again. If that's not available, then something sweet. Something sweet. They mentioned that raisins, honey, milk, these are all sweet things. That sweet thing can be cooked or not cooked, but generally something sweet. But if you break your fast on anything, inshallah, you get it. Also, it's important to break your fast, okay, physically, if you can. Okay, now, if you can't eat anything until midnight, it's fine. But if you can, it's recommended you should try to physically break your fast. Do something that breaks your fast and show your need of these things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can break your fast. And the scholars say to the extent that even if you have nothing to eat and the person has no means to break the fast other than intimacy, then he should. Or then they should. Also, in the Shafi'i madhab, continuing to fast 2 days together is haram. It's haram to continue to fast 2 days together. And another opinion, it's makruh. Okay. Now, it's also sunnah to break your fast early and delay suhoor. So we break our fast early and we make our suhoor, we do suhoor late. And the reason we do that is to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we say to him that we need your help, we need these these nutrients and things that we eat and drink, and we can't, the moment you allow us, we're going to take them. So this sometimes is interpreted in the wrong way. I remember once when I was young, I was attending a class of a very famous preacher, but he doesn't follow any madhab, and he was saying, the moment you hear Allah, put the mouth straight away. Straight away. Even if the muaddin hasn't made adhan yet, but the clock goes off, just swallow straight away and beat the shaitan. Okay? This fatwa is a very dangerous fatwa. And according to most of our scholars, this person needs to repeat the day of fast. You can't break your fast until you are sure that Maghrib time has nothing to do with the muaddin, nothing to do with calendar. You have to be sure. Okay? So if there's 2 calendars in your area, so there's 2 clocks, one goes off at 7:30, the other one goes off at 7:31. Wait the later one, okay? Or even wait another minute or 2 extra. A lot of our teachers used to wait, like overseas. There's only one calendar. They'll wait 3-4 minutes, up to 4 minutes after adhan, and then break the fast. But wait a bit until you are comfortable that adhan has been, Maghrib has entered, and not just any clock or beep 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 or adhan means you should break your fast. This is not only Shafi'i madhab, it's in all the madhabs. Can't do that. Also, delaying suhoor means you don't have it at midnight. Doesn't mean you have to have it 1 minute before Fajr. Yeah, you should stop a couple of minutes before Fajr, because you don't know exactly the moment Fajr will enter and exactly the moment night will stop. So generally 5 minutes before Athan of Fajr. If it's easy, even 10 minutes if you want. You should stop eating. Some scholars say up to 15 minutes, but in the Shafi'i method, inshallah, 5 minutes is enough to stop eating before. So breaking fast early and delaying suhoor is only done with the condition that you are sure of sunset from Maghrib and Fajr, and Fajr not entering for suhoor. Suhoor should also be on dates. That's also recommended. Suhoor should be on dates, or should have some dates when having suhoor. Also, i'tikaf is a sunnah mentioned in Ramadan. It's mentioned in books of fiqh, in the book of fasting. I'tikaf. This is a whole section of the i'tikaf. I'tikaf means to stay in the masjid with the intention to do i'tikaf, to stay there for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our madhab, it's sunnah for every Muslim who enters a masjid to intend to do i'tikaf for the amount of time that you're staying in the masjid. Any Muslim enters any masjid in the world. So you can do i'tikaf for 1 minute, 1 day, 2 days, 10 days. It's fine. There's no minimum to the i'tikaf as long as it's a moment plus. And the reason for this opinion is that there's so many different ahadith that show the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did i'tikaf in different methods and ways. So there's nothing in Islam that says that i'tikaf must be done 10 days. Can't be done more, can't be done less. There's nothing in Islam that says that i'tikaf has these strict conditions. So many scholars like Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad also, same thing. They took from this that i'tikaf can be done even for a moment, even for an hour. And to get that reward, they said all you have to do is intend to do i'tikaf. So when you enter the masjid, you intend to do i'tikaf as long as you're in the mosque. Some countries, I've seen this in some countries, when you enter the masjid, there's a sign. It says, Nawaitu i'tikaf, muddat baqa'i hadha masjid. I have intended to i'tikaf as long as I'm in this masjid. Like this, just to remind people to say that. In some countries, some people find that very intimidating, but that is built on this opinion. That is built on this opinion, also built on the opinion that mentioning your niyyah out loud is sunnah as well. Not out loud, but saying your niyyah is sunnah. Okay. Now, i'tikaf has also conditions. We'll just go through some of them, inshallah, quickly. So in i'tikaf, of course, the person should stay away from excess talking and socializing and stuff, and use that time to spend for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The person can't leave the masjid for no reason. The person leaves the masjid in our madhab, generally the i'tikaf is broken. So that's important to understand. And also there's certain other actions that break the i'tikaf, like, of course, ejaculation and stuff like that, intercourse, these things break the i'tikaf, of course. And there's other details to i'tikaf, inshallah, and Najib will cover, inshallah. Now, doing sadaqah and reading Quran is extremely recommended in Ramadan, to do extra sadaqah on Quran. It's time for that. And it's sunnah to not use the miswak after the adhan of dhuhr. To not use the miswak after adhan of dhuhr if you're fasting. In the Shafi'i madhab, and also some of the other madhab. And it's also sunnah to make this dua after breaking your fast. After breaking your fast. A lot of people say this before they break fast. ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. اللهم لك الصمت وعلى رزقك أفطرت. It's 2 du'as. They said after breaking your fast. After breaking your fast. Okay. Okay. Any questions about this?
Yeah.
Beautiful question. Okay. If you have food in your mouth, so you're having suhoor, and then adhan goes, and you've got food in your mouth, or you've got the cups full of water. Has anyone? What have we heard about this? Anyone have any idea? Any? Okay. So, according to that fatwa, you can eat intentionally after Fajr. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you can eat after Fajr, or drink after Fajr. It's okay. And depending on how big that cup is, you can, maybe if it's a huge cup, you can, 5 liters, you can continue until it's finished. Until it's finished. Okay. This fatwa is built on a hadith. Okay. We touched on this on the history of the class, on a hadith that says that if someone is fasting and the adhan goes, don't rush to finish. Don't rush to finish what's in the glass or the cup. The scholars say this hadith is talking about the first adhan. The first adhan. In Medina, there was 2 adhans. The first adhan. Okay? And you can interpret this with another hadith in the Sahih that Rasulullah said, don't make the adhan of Ibn Mahdura. Okay? Or Bilal, don't make the adhan of the first mu'adhin stop you from eating or your night prayer. So he was talking about the first adhan, not the second adhan. The second adhan in Medina is Fajr adhan. That's the one that has to stop you from everything. So some of the Sahaba would be hesitant. They think the first adhan has the same ruling. That's what it's supposed to be. Number 1. Number 2, the majority of scholars say this hadith is not correct. The isnad of the hadith is not correct. But even if it was correct, like I said, the meaning of this hadith would fit and match the other hadith in Sahih Bukhari and other books of Sunnah that have the similar meaning. Throughout all of our madhab, of course, it's not permissible to do so. Finish what's in the cup. Yeah? If you intentionally consumed anything the moment Fajr entered, you have to repeat that day. Anything. You can't finish what's in the cup, what's in the plate, anything like that. I know some people that would, some people say, when you're like, pour some more water. So they take it to another extent, you know, they get excited. SubhanAllah. I remember even when I was young, when I was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, I heard that fatwa, and I used to work, you know, I used to act upon it when I was young. And I remember I went to one of the elders in my family, and there was some chips that I wanted to eat, and I said, you know, the adhan just went, but like it's the same thing. Can I have these two? Like, yeah, it should be okay, inshallah. And we sat there like eating for a few minutes after adhan. SubhanAllah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The madhab is that siwak is makruh after dhuhr. Makruh. No, you can't. In the Shafi'i madhab, you can't. In the Hanbali Malik madhab, you can, but in the Shafi'i madhab, you can't. You can only break it through doing one of these things. That's it. It's the only way to break the fast. Yeah, anything, anytime, even the morning, night, anytime, as long as you're inside a masjid. Enter the masjid, you can continue. No, that's it. Yeah, questions? Okay, yeah, I'll try to. Forgot about that. Okay. Does using lip balm or Vaseline break your? Okay. Okay. Why is the conditions of someone who is considered trustworthy, and if they are neither trustworthy nor untrustworthy and informed of the sighting, what is done afterwards? So if the person is neither trustworthy nor untrustworthy, it doesn't make sense. If the person is trustworthy or untrustworthy, yeah. So someone you trust or someone you don't trust. Okay, so that doesn't make sense. Inshallah. Okay. Does swallowing phlegm and mucus intentionally break the fast? If unable to spit it out, I'm not sure. If able to spit. Okay. Phlegm and mucus, it depends where they are. Okay. So if the phlegm and mucus have passed, they were closer to the mouth than the part of your throat that you mentioned, the letter Ayn and Ha, Ayn and Ha, then you have to spit it out. So if it's above that, so mucus is very high, it's just under your mouth, at the beginning of your throat, then you have to spit it out. But if it's lower than that, then you don't have to spit it out. So if it's high, if it's about to come out, if it's you know, at the top of your throat, then you have to spit it out. But if it's at the bottom, you don't have to. So from that, like I said, Ayn, Ha, Ghayn, Kha, those letters, in the Shafi'i method, that is all considered the same as the mouth. It's considered the same as the mouth, and it's not a part of your stomach. It's not a part of your inner self. If you put something that far down, it wouldn't break the fast either. So if someone put something in there that far down, it wouldn't break the fast. It only break the fast once it goes below that. Does using lip balm or Vaseline break your fast? It doesn't, as long as you don't swallow it. Doesn't, as long as you don't swallow it. If someone had to take the food, you can taste food while you're fasting as long as you don't swallow it, but it is highly recommended not to do so because it's dangerous. Does rinsing your mouth and nose during wudu break your fast? No, it doesn't. I heard it's not recommended to take a shower during your fast. Okay, rinsing your mouth and nose doesn't break your fast, but it's disliked to extremely rinse your mouth and nose out, to do mubalagha, even though it's sunnah in other times when you're not fasting. So to gurgle the water or wash to the end of your mouth is disliked when you're fasting, and to sniff the water up high in your nose is disliked when you're fasting. Just you do a little bit. Just do a little bit. Why? Because it is risky, and if anything goes down your throat, then you would break your fast. Yes. So it's unintentional, but some things that are unintentional, you take a risk when you do it. Okay. Like for example, someone brushing a teeth with toothpaste, yeah, in the fasting. It's risky. Toothpaste makes foam in your mouth, and if it goes down your throat, you took the risk. So you'll break your fast. Someone tasting food and they break it, yeah. It's risky. Very easily, food can go down your throat. So you're the one who's risking it. So the person, okay, doesn't mean they're sinful, but they're taking a risk and they might break their fast. Same thing, if you're rinsing your mouth and nose out normally, you're not doing it extremely, excessively, just a normal, and it goes down your throat, your fast doesn't break. Just a normal, okay? But if you excessively rinse your mouth, you put a lot of water in your mouth, and it goes down your throat, then it breaks your fast. Why? Because you're taking a risk. The first case, you're not taking a risk, so it doesn't harm, even if it goes down your throat. If someone had the chance to learn about which breaks the fast and didn't, however, they didn't meet the conditions of fast in the first place, is their fasting valid? Let me understand the question. But like I said, inshallah, maybe the person can message me. I don't understand the question either, inshallah. But inshallah, it's more question. Yeah, okay, inshallah. So the last part of the book, inshallah, there's not going to be any commentary, inshallah, on it, just in the Arabic. Actually, I won't read the Arabic because my voice, inshallah. I'll just ask Karam to read English, inshallah.
Anyone who has intentional vaginal intercourse in daytime during Ramadan must make up fast day and perform menstruation. The expiation is emancipating and consistent. If a slave is not found one fast consecutively for 2 months, one is unable to do this for giving each one more 0.51 food. If someone dies while still owing fast days from Ramadan, one would 0.51 food, but each fast day is given one fast. Someone who is elderly and unable to fast gives 1 wood, 0.51 weeks. If each fast day, when a woman who is pregnant or nursing fears for herself, she breaks her fast, must make up the fast day. If she fears for the child only, she must make up the fast day and often each day. The expiation is 1 month. Someone who is ill or making a long journey not required to fast, but must make up the fast day. Spiritual retreat. Spiritual retreat, Kittab, is a recommended sunnah, has 2 conditions. One must A, make the intention, and B, remain in the mosque. One does not prematurely exit spiritual retreat one has vowed to make, except for the sake of routine. Example, going to the lavatory, or an excuse such as menstruation or sickness, which prevents one from remaining in the mosque.
جزاكم الله خيرا. إن شاء الله وصلنا. الله تعالى أعلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم سيدنا محمد.